Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the 2026 Texas Senate race primaries between the Republican Party and the Democratic, aside from the Tuesday election night results. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content, press the like button, share this video, don't forget we have memberships, so if you're interested, you can find the links to that in the description section. So, these results should worry Republicans, and these results should bring hope to the Democratic Party among the Democratic base. So, James Talarico defeated Jasmine Crockett as expected, although polls showed it neck and neck, and Jasmine Crockett actually winning by a substantial amount. But a lot of people didn't believe that. They expected Talarico to win despite what the polling was saying. And now, one thing you can say about this is the reason why Democrats had so much turnout, far greater than expected, is because Crockett was winning in the polls, and they turned out to only prevent that. And it does not necessarily mean they're going to have this high turnout in the actual general election. Now, that may be true, and we'll get to the Republican side in just a bit. But what you see here is both Democratic candidates surpassed 1 million votes. So I think both of these races, both the Republican and Democrat primaries, were contested. Some people may argue that only the Republican primary was contested and not the Democratic primary. I would disagree. I would think the Democratic Party was also a contested race. Now, Talarico, his margin of victory was by about 6%, as you can see right here. That's a likely, decent, solid amount. Now, the reason why it's still contested is because both candidates passed 1 million votes. And if you take a look at the Republican primary, neither candidate could reach 1 million votes. Matter of fact, the Republican Party's first place candidate, John Cornyn, who is the incumbent, by the way, got less primary votes than the second place Democratic candidate, Jasmine Crockett. Let me say that again. The first place Republican candidate received less votes than the second placed Jasmine Crockett. Just think about that. And that goes to show you that Democrats truly do have that hope. And let me compare this really quick to 2018 primaries. Before we do that, actually, Ken Paxton is trailing right now by just about 2% or 1%, and he has forced this race to a runoff. Republican Senator John Cornyn was forced into a runoff with State Attorney General Ken Paxton for the Republican nomination, while State Representative James Talarico won the Democratic nomination. Now, Trump has came out and said that he's going to endorse one candidate and that the other candidate that he does not endorse should drop out before that runoff race is held. So we're expecting Trump to endorse John Cornyn. If Republicans want to win in November, they should endorse John Cornyn. Ken Paxton is a worse candidate, a weaker one, and Cornyn is the incumbent. Now, I will say incumbents are going down in these elections. For 2026, if you're an incumbent, your seat is, very losable. So this race also shows that incumbents are not doing that well. If you take a look at Al Green from Harris County in Texas, his representative race, he lost by just a couple points, which I think was the biggest shocker of the night. So we go back to the 2018 primaries. Now, there's two sides to this. Republicans say that just primaries don't really indicate what's going to happen in the general election. Now, that may be true, because if you take a look at what happened in 2018, Ted Cruz received 1.3 million votes. Now, it was not contested, unlike right now. It's obviously heading to a runoff. You could say that. He received 1.3 million votes. But you take a look at this. Get this. Beto O'Rourke was also not really in a contested race at all. Received 644,000 votes. That's less than second place Jasmine Crockett, who reached 1 million votes. And in 2018, when the race was within 2 points, Ted Cruz only won by 2 points when the Democratic candidate received 644,000 votes. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz in his own primary reached 1.3 million votes. And now, fast forward in 2026, you have both Democratic candidates. There's a big difference. Both of them receive more than 1 million votes. And this time around, instead of Ted Cruz reaching 1.3 million, not even the first Republican candidate in first place can reach 1 million votes. Now, yes, this is contested. Ted Cruz, he was not contested in his primary. But it goes to show you because if you take a look at Beto O'Rourke, who is not really contested at all, he only got 600,000 votes. Meanwhile, in 2026, Democrats are having higher turnout, as you can see right here, roughly 200 more thousand votes than Republicans. Now, yes, that may be because they were preventing Jasmine Crockett from winning, because she was in the polls, but she did not on election day. Clearly, Talarico is the winner. Now, Talarico is by far the stronger candidate. He gives Democrats the best chance of winning. Maybe he can help with that, evangelical vote among the Republican base. He might be someone like a John Fetterman, but in reversed. He might help, or actually, yeah, he is John Fetterman, 2.0. And that's what Democrats are worried about, and that's why he might end up losing, and that's why he might not get the turnout against either John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. Now, if Ken Paxton ends up winning the runoff race, things will be completely different. It will actually benefit Democrats even more. I think Talarico actually can win, potentially will win in that case if Paxton is the nominee. Now, he's facing a lot of scandals. That's the reason why. Now, even though John Cornyn is an incumbent, and I said recently that incumbents are not doing good, still gives a better chance than someone like Ken Paxton, obviously. So if Republicans want to win, they have to nominate John Cornyn. And I do believe that James Talarico can win, and the only way I see him winning is if Ken Paxton gets endorsed by Trump and ends up winning. That is literally the only reason how I see James Talarico winning, alongside, high turnout, significant turnout among the Democratic base, like what we saw on Tuesday. And also, if Jasmine Crockett supporters cross over and vote for Talarico in the general, which may or may not happen, we'll yet to see, maybe that can help Talarico as well. Those two combining factors, Crockett supporters going over to Talarico, and also Democrats getting the turnouts alongside Ken Paxton being the nominee instead of John Cornyn, is the way I see him winning. So basically, that's the argument of the two sides. Democrats are saying this turnout basically is going to prove that Talarico may win. They're not saying he will win, but they're confident that it can be close like it was in 2018, just within 2 points or so. And Beto O'Rourke received less votes than the Democrats did in terms of their own primary. He received, like I said, 600,000. Both Crockett and Talarico received over 1 million combined. So total, it's like over 2 million. I think like 2.3, and the Republican total was just exactly a little over 2 million. So the difference is about 200,000 votes. So that's the takeaway over there. Now, Republicans are saying before we end off this video that primaries do not reflect what we're going to see in 2026 November. That may be the case, and if the Republicans are wrong, that's because Ken Paxton is the nominee. That's the only reason. So, one last final reminder, that's pretty much it, is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss my content. Press the like button, share this video, don't forget, we have memberships. If you're interested, you can find links in the description section. Thank you everyone for watching.